This episode is brought to you by DistroKid.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
Hey everybody, today marks the first of 4 holiday episodes here in the month of December. To kick things off, Chris Fafalios and myself are going to break down the writing and lyrical interpretation of the Kinks' 1977 standalone single, Father Christmas. Talk about fun. This song is chock full of hook after hook. The melody is insanely catchy, and there's more production twists and turns than you can count. And the lyric? Well, it's not the most uplifting piece of prose ever committed to tape, but does that even matter? Not really. Father Christmas still gives me super warm feelings. And by the looks of it, a lot of other artists have felt this way too, as the song's been covered by everyone from Green Day, Bad Religion, Lit, and Bowling for Soup, to Save Ferris, Letters to Cleo, Smash Mouth, and many more. So make sure to be on your best behavior. If you're naughty, you won't get any presents from Father Christmas.
Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast.
Chris, this song's awesome. What a cool tune, huh?
Yeah, the Kinks are a little bit of a blind spot for me, to be honest. Of course, I know the hits, You Really Got Me, and I know Come Dancing, and I know Lola. You cover Come Dancing, right?
Mm-hmm. You got a song called All Through the Night, which is a lot like You Really Got Me. Girl, I want to be with you in the daytime all day.
The night. Yeah, okay, of course I know that song.
Girl, you really got me now.
Yeah.
Very similar. But then you go to Lola, then you go to Come Dancing, you go to something like Father Christmas, and it doesn't sound like the same band.
No, in fact, Father Christmas to me sounds like a punk rock song. Now, the Kinks, to a certain extent, like in their own way, kind of pre-punk, are kind of punk-ish, would you say?
Well, yes, and they're often considered the godfathers of punk. The Kinks, MC5, Stooges. At the time, they called it garage rock. Okay, and it was a term for kind of just brash. And I mean, the Kinks were pretty cutting edge in '64. Whether You Really Got Me, I mean, that was tough stuff then.
Right?
But
yeah.
This song, you mentioned punk. My gosh, does this Father Christmas remind me of the Dead Milkmen?
The Dead Milkmen, too, that reminds you of. Okay.
Yes. Just this particular track, so much. Just, the bells and the whistles and, I don't know, something about the delivery of the vocal and just kind of has that feeling, which they couldn't be farther away from Dead Milkman's home city of Philadelphia.
Sure. Well, before we get into the song, Chris, just a real quick, if there's anyone out there who's like me and doesn't kind of know the story of the Kinks, maybe spend a few minutes talking about it. They were formed in London in 1963 by brothers Ray and Dave Davies. Now, Ray is the guitarist, vocalist, and main songwriter in the band, and Dave Davies is the lead guitarist and backing vocalist. And also bassist Peter Quaife?
We'll just call him Pete. Pete Q.
Pete Q. And then it was they formed in 1963, and by June 1964, they released You Really Got Me, and it went to #1 on the UK charts and was a top 10 hit in the US, which to me is mind-boggling that you start a band and by the next year, you have this huge song that's still big today.
I know. It's amazing. And, you know, I haven't combed through, you sent me a lot of notes on this one. I thank you for that, Chris. I haven't combed through exactly everything. I figured we would just get to them as they go, but I don't know if this is in here anywhere. I do want to bring up the rivalry of the brothers real quick.
Okay.
I don't know what it is about siblings and bands. Thank goodness I'm not in a band with my brother. It most likely wouldn't work. But these guys, it's kind of like, you know, the guys in the Black Crowes, Chris and Rich Robinson, or the Oasis brothers. It's just something about that dynamic that is just combustive. And these guys are notorious for that.
It's got to be like a power struggle. And it's like, no matter what, we're family. So we got to, you know, maybe in other situations you would be like, well, fuck that guy, never talk to him again. But the brothers are forced to eventually reckon with it because they are family.
Yeah, you know, I get to go to the holidays to escape my band, but if your brother's in the band, you're not escaping him.
Yeah, that's a lot. But the Kinks in general, they developed a reputation for like being rowdy. You know, in 1965, at a show in Wales, there was a big fight between Dave Davies and their drummer, Mick. And then Dave had to get 16 stitches in his head. So they're fighting, not just the brothers, the band is fighting amongst themselves. And, you know, they had other hits and stuff, but they eventually got banned from playing in the United States for like 4 years. Did you know about that?
I didn't, but it doesn't surprise me. Think about what was happening in 1960s America back then. I mean, coming here and they were British and...
Well, I have the story right here. It was after, I mean, this is once again, they had this hit. They're a band that's only around for a couple years, but it was after a tour of the United States, the American Federation of Musicians refused their permits for them to appear there for the next 4 years, which in turn, Chris, cut them off from the whole British invasion. So they didn't benefit a lot from the British invasion. And this is the supposed story, is they were taping an episode of Dick Clark's TV show Where the Action Is in 1965. And Ray Davies said that some guy from the TV show accused them of being late. And then he started making anti-British comments about how just because the Beatles did it, every mop-topped, spotty-faced, limey juvenile thinks he can come over here and make a career for himself. And a punch was thrown, and that led to this banning. So it's so funny to think about, like, anti-British musician sort of prejudice, because people were pissed about like the Beatles and their goofy haircuts and how obsessed everyone was with them.
Oh, gosh. I mean, I think I joked with you about it the other day. Someone made a meme of the Beatles and like, this is what your parents heard in 1964. And they like overdubbed a Cannibal Corpse song or something. But,
right.
You know, it was outrage with a lot of parents seeing your teenage daughter scream at the TV with her girlfriends. I'll tell you, Chris, something that really surprised me. I know that Ray Davies was prolific, but between that first self-titled album 64 and 1977, when they released Father Christmas, they released 15 albums.
Yeah. They kind of did the same thing. Now, I'm not sure what year the Beatles did it, but by 1968, they pretty much largely retired from touring and just focused on studio work. So that's pretty interesting too, because then it was 2 years later that Lola became the hit it was. And I mean, I know I'm not the only person who's going to agree with him about what I'm about to say, but my first experience with Lola is that I heard the Weird Al Yoda and went backwards and like, what is this a parody of?
Yeah, I always loved the song Lola. Simple, catchy, and it couldn't sound further from You Really Got Me and All Through the Night.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound, or even Come Dancing, does not sound like the same band at all. In fact, I bet that if you were to go look at playlists that the Kinks were miscredited many times with some of these songs because it just, you know, doesn't sound like their other hits.
Right. You know, it's interesting too. I'm sure there are Kinks documentaries out there, and it seems like one of those bands that you could probably do one of these biopics about because they've had so many different things. Now, in the like early to mid 70s, they began getting into like a more theatrical thing. And they made a rock opera called Preservation. And then by the time they signed with Arista in 1976, they stripped it all back and they were a 5-piece band once again. And they were reborn as like an arena rock band. And their 16th album was called Sleepwalker, which was released in 1977. That had a top 40 hit called A Rock and Roll Fantasy on it, which I don't know that song. Do you know that song?
I might know it if I listen to it, not to be confused with the song called Rock and Roll Fantasy by another British band, Bad Company. It's not that song.
Not that song.
No, it's not that. It's not that tune. But this is around the time, Chris, that Father Christmas was released. It was a non-album single, and something written here. You had said that the song is driven by session drummer Henry Spinetti's drumming and Dave Davies' heavy guitar. So I guess they brought in this session drummer. The groove on this track is awesome. It does have a punk kinetic energy to it.
It's interesting to me because when I hear this song now, I'm like, okay, I've heard thousands of songs that kind of have this punk energy or whatever. But in 1977, think about this. This is disco time. Mm-hmm. Were there many songs that sounded like this? This sounds like light years ahead. This sounds like a 90s punk band or something. Like it's wild to me.
If you go back and listen, for the Jam, for instance, there's a song called Modern World that Less Than Jake had covered years ago.
Oh, yeah.
The Jam kind of has this feel. The Jam was 77, 78 around this time. So there were bands doing it, but typically when you get a band from the 60s, as the Kinks were at this point, now in the 70s, and they try to do a song like this, it comes off as forced. Oh, they're trying to be punk, they're trying to be this, and this is anything but forced. It sounds like it's right in the Kinks' wheelhouse.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're about to break into the nuances and details of this song. But there's so much happens in this song, so many little things along the way that I'm like, oh my God, you'd have to remember so many things if you covered this song, which is why it was surprising to me that so many bands have covered this song. Green Day, Bad Religion, Lit, Bowling for Soup, Save Ferris, Letters to Cleo, Smash Mouth, Deer Tick, OK Go, Cheap Trick, Matt Nathanson. The list goes on. And I didn't listen to the covers, but I wonder, like, are they doing a more stripped down version of this? Because it just seems like there's a lot happening in this song.
Yeah, I haven't. I probably heard some of those covers. I don't recall. I probably heard them on a playlist or something at some point, or a comp back in the day. But yeah, also you didn't mention Warrant from a very hairy Christmas.
Okay, right.
I imagine some of those bands put the bells and whistles in, but probably not all of them. But you're right. This is a big song. It's 3 minutes and 41 seconds. It's pushing into the 4-minute territory. But they definitely weren't thinking, I don't think, Chris, single-minded with this. Yeah, it was released as a non-album single. But what I mean by single-minded is like, this is going to be a single. It has to have a copy and paste chorus and a refrain at the end. And this song's kind of all over the place. The lyrics don't ever repeat, which is awesome. It's more of a story.
Yeah, it's interesting to me, too. It's a non-album single. What their thought was. Did they know that this was going to be a song that people loved and were talking about decades later? Did they know that it was going to get some play on, I don't know, TV? This is pre-MTV. I just don't know their reasoning, if it was part of a comp or something. I don't know.
If I were to guess, I bet this was just not thought about too much. I could be wrong, but they just wrote it for fun, and I don't know if they ever even thought it'd be part of their legacy. Yeah, we're just gonna do this Christmas song, and it ends up being one of their signature songs. But I want to jump into this bad boy, Chris. Lot to cover. 3 minutes and 41 seconds. The intro's 8 bars of sleigh bells and a xylophone melody. A single snare hit brings in the whole band. One continuous snare drum roll is underneath the bass and guitar. That snare drum roll is a theme through this song.
Yeah.
And it's so bouncy and so good. The guitar is playing one of the song's many hooks, a memorable, sort of hard to grasp at first guitar riff. Yeah, it kind of, in simple terms, Chris, it almost feels like the riff goes backwards.
Yeah, I could see that. And also, is that a xylophone at the beginning? I said it was a xylophone, and that's what it sounded closest to me.
I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
Something that was left off here. Do you hear the double hand claps at the top?
I don't remember.
Yeah, there's double hand claps there.
Okay.
And it's odd where they're at, with the snare, it kind of does this ping pong thing with your ears. It's really cool, and that brings us into verse 1. And to your point, you probably didn't hear the hand claps. There's a lot going on with this tune, and when you don't have an exact image, Chris, of stereo guitars, meaning they're playing exactly the same thing or roughly the same thing. The guitars in this song are playing different figures and different phrases. It's really cool what's going on. It's like a true 2-guitar team. The guys in Aerosmith, the guys in Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, where you're listening to the one guitar over here and the guitar over here. Yeah, they're playing together, but they're playing slightly off, and there's a push and pull, and that's what's going on with Father Christmas. Then we break into verse 1. The music settles into a power pop verse at the end of each line. All of the music follows the rhythm and melody together. Example, though I knew it was my dad. It goes with the rhythm of the band. The stereo guitars are each playing a separate feel. I just mentioned that at the top, and that's really evident here in verse 1. And you had written verse vocals definitely sound doubled. They do, and there's also kind of featured words that I notice that they'll be singing. Ray will be singing, kind of almost like featured words that rappers will do, where there's 1 or 2 words they'll really, really zone in on. But here's a lyric, Chris. Let's talk about it. When I was small, I believed in Santa Claus, though I knew it was my dad, and I would hang up my stockings at Christmas, open my presents, and I'd be glad. Right here, we get a nice and loud 8th note tambourine that comes in on verse 1. And don't take this the wrong way. I think this song's awesome. The lyrics are a little juvenile here, right?
We didn't really talk about what this song is about yet. It's, once again, going back to the punk thing, it's kind of about getting beat up and saying basically that Christmas sucks and it's all about the commercialism and the rich kids get the toys, and it is like a anti-Christmas song in certain aspects, but it's so fun that it has become like a Christmas classic. But I gotta ask, you stopped there. Does it continue with the verse, or does it become a pre-chorus with this second half coming up here?
It's interesting. Yeah. This part could be argued either way. The tambourine here, Chris, it goes to 16th notes, and that really speeds this part up, and it feels like a scenery change, okay? Yeah. This part to me feels like a pre-chorus. I'm going to go pre-chorus with it, but the argument could certainly be made that it's an extension of verse 1.
But the last time I played Father Christmas, I stood outside a department store. A gang of kids came over and mugged me and knocked my reindeer to the floor. He said, Father Christmas.
This part, does it remind you of Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult? Oh my gosh.
See Seasons don't fear the reaper, nor do the wind, the sun, or the rain. We can be like they are. Come on, baby.
Seasons don't fear the reaper.
Okay.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That came out by Blue Oyster Cult a year before this, 1976, and I swear Ray has had to have heard that song somewhere in there. It reminds me a lot of that, and it's different enough from the preceding part we're calling the verse that I think it warrants it as a pre-chorus.
Yeah, it's like the lyrics, but the last time I played Father Christmas, I stood outside a department store is different. But then by the time it gets back to a gang of kids came over and mugged me and knocked my reindeer to the floor, it's back to the melody from what we're calling the verse. So that's why I wasn't sure what to call this.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it could be made argument either way. This is a story. Christmas songs you typically tell a story, and if it's linear and it's a story, it really doesn't matter. It could all be one verse in a sense, especially with this tune because no lyric really repeats itself. But it's a toss-up for me on this one. Could go either way.
Yeah, and I mean, we kind of sang them already, but the last time I played Father Christmas, I stood outside a department store. A gang of kids came over and mugged me and knocked my reindeer to the floor. So in this story, Ray is being Santa, like a mall Santa or something, or a department store Santa, and he got mugged by the kids. Okay.
That's right. And then we get a big build-up that leads into chorus one. It's 2 bars, Chris, and we get into the first chorus. It's a driving, straight-ahead drum beat, nice and catchy, and it's a cool dynamic shift from the verse. They said the first lyric of the chorus, they're like pickup notes before the father comes in to start the actual chorus.
He said, Father Christmas, give us some money. Don't mess around with those silly toys. We'll beat you up if you don't hand it over. We want your bread, so don't make us annoyed. Give all the toys to the little rich boy.
That they said we talked about, that's that pickup note, and then we get into Father Christmas, give us some money. Don't mess around with those silly toys. We'll beat you up if you don't hand it over. We want your bread, so don't make us annoyed. Give all the toys to the little rich boys. And we get to the harmony, the little rich, and then that snare comes back in on boys, and we go into a post-chorus. This chorus is so catchy, though.
Yeah,
right?
I think this is why people love this song. It's the combination of that straight-ahead driving beat with very catchy melodies, but also like kind of funny lyrics. It like, once again, it's that sort of anti-Christmas sentiment. And on top of that, you have that xylophone melody over top of it too. So just the whole thing is just fun and uplifting and it's kind of like a song that can make you feel good around Christmas time, even if you can't stand Christmas.
Well, I mean, yeah, and really, I don't want to say the lyric doesn't matter, but this is, kind of dark here a little bit, but it's still uplifting and it still feels happy, to your point. The line, we want your bread, so don't make us annoyed. Is that slang for we want your money?
Yeah, for
right?
Sure. For sure.
Okay. Because I've never really, I imagine that someone from the UK would know that, I need some bread that goes for money, but I've never talked to anybody or never used that in that context over there. So I'm sure we'll get some messages with people confirming.
Bread is a worldwide term. We all want to make that bread.
Right? It's gotta be. All right.
Yeah.
Well, out of chorus one, we get into a post-chorus with a classic rock-style guitar solo over that long themed snare roll and the guitar riff. And this is 6 bars before we get into verse 2.
The little rich boy. My brother a Steve Austin outfit. Don't give my sister a cuddly toy. We don't want a jigsaw or Monopoly money. We only want the real McCoy. Father Christmas.
Don't give my brother a Steve Austin outfit. Don't give my sister a cuddly toy. We don't want a jigsaw or Monopoly money. We only want the real McCoy. There is a piano panned off right. Did you hear that piano in here?
There's so much stuff going on that I don't even think I noticed the piano.
Yeah, there's a piano panned off right here in verse 2 that's not present in verse 1. And I'm listening. It's one of those situations you've heard me say it a ton of times, Chris, where I'm listening going, what is different about verse 2? What is it here? I'm listening to the guitars. It's like, there's a piano over there. Really, really cool. And on this verse, we get that 16th note tambourine, really moving that verse along. And I'm wondering why they put it there. Again, that 16th note tambo wasn't till what we were calling previously either the second part of verse 1 or the pre-chorus. And you wrote something funny here. Steve Austin, of course, isn't referring to Stone Cold Steve Austin. Of course, I knew this. So instead, he's referring to Colonel Steve Austin, the 1970s TV science fiction action hero portrayed by Lee Majors in The $6 Million Man, which aired on ABC television from 1974 to 1978. I watched that show when it was on the air, Chris. Yes, I'm old enough. I had the doll too.
Wow.
They had Bigfoot on that show one time, which was some like 6'6" dude dressed as Bigfoot. It's hilarious. It might have been the episode they used Andre the Giant, but yes, the original Steve Austin.
That's funny too. And you talk about this song still being relevant. Well, even this lyric, don't give my brother a Steve Austin outfit. If you put it in today's context, we think of Steve Austin as Stone Cold, which he has a very recognizable outfit. He has the black little shorts or whatever they wear in wrestling, but he also shaved head, beer, like he just has a look to him, and he has props and stuff that you or I could me a little more easier probably with being bald, but could put on a Steve Austin outfit, you know?
Do you remember the female spinoff of this show, Chris?
I don't even know this show. So
okay. The lead in that was her name was Lindsay Wagner. It was called The Bionic Woman.
I've definitely heard of that.
Yeah, they were kind of dating in the $6 Million Man series, and they did the spinoff with Lindsay Wagner. But getting into chorus 2, that 16th note tambourine, it's out. There's no tambourine in chorus 2. A really quick tom fill leads us into this chorus. And it's much different than the big build-up into chorus 1. We don't get that, and we don't get that, what I'm calling that scene change like we do verse 1 to the pre-chorus. And this part really keeps the song moving.
Father Christmas, give us some money. We'll beat you up if you make us annoyed. Father Christmas, give us some money. Don't mess around with those silly toys. But give my daddy.
Different lyrics. We keep talking about this, but it's different lyrics for chorus 2. We're really getting a lot of information in this song, which it might be part of the appeal to it. It's a story, right? Christmas songs are meant to revolve around a story. And this one tells a really pissed off story about Christmas. You had written here that you hear some sort of sound effect that's like a wah, 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 wah. It's like a vocal. Listen closely. What is that? I think it's just vocal pads with harmonies.
I don't think that's what I'm hearing. It's not a vocal thing. It's like a pulsating something.
Father Christmas, give us some money. Don't mess around with those silly toys.
And I was going to say, I'm hearing those vocals, but almost with like a Wurlitzer or some type of organ that's countering with it, that's making it
Okay.
It's doing that to the ear.
Okay.
I don't know if that's what you're hearing, but I'm definitely hearing something with those vocals that's, again, this is the second time I've used this analogy, Chris. It's like a ping pong match. My head's going back and forth when I'm listening to this part. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I didn't know what I was hearing. I'm just hearing it. And I could not pick it out, but you might be right. Yeah, it could be the bouncing back and forth. If you think there's a Wurlitzer in here?
Something, a Wurlitzer or
that would make sense if that's what
Leslie,
it is.
something. Yeah, something's happening there. And the lyric to chorus 2 is, Father Christmas, give us some money. We'll beat you up if you make us annoyed. Father Christmas, give us some money. Don't mess around with those silly toys. You know, we don't get that that other lyric from the chorus, there's like a fifth line in the other one. We want your bread, so don't make us annoyed. Give all the toys to the little rich boys. And this one just goes, Father Christmas, give us some money. Don't mess around with those silly toys. No harmonies either in these choruses.
Yeah.
They're unison. You can hear when they're doubled. You can hear when the words are featured. But there's another note you put here, Chris, something that Dave Davies said of the song. I love the humor of it and the aggression and bitterness. I could see the faces of my parents when Christmas came around. They had to struggle to make ends meet. We kind of got what we needed, but there was something fake about the holiday. This juxtaposition of the festive season can also be clearly heard throughout the lyrics. And that's interesting. I remember seeing aunts and uncles come over for holidays that maybe had a rough year. I don't know if you can relate to this at all. But I didn't know what the look on my uncle's face was, but it was a look of anguish. It was a look of, this isn't fun. I got to go back to work on Monday. My kids are bummed out because the other cousins got the mini bikes. I can't afford it for them. I felt that when I read that note that you put here. I've felt that before. I've witnessed that at holiday get-togethers, and the holidays are a big stressor on a lot of people.
It's extremely stressful on so many levels, and there is such a commercialization of it that I think ruins the thing. I think in essence, it's supposed to be a time you get together with your family, and also it kind of breaks up. Now, you grew up in Florida, so maybe you didn't experience this as much, but it breaks up the cold time of year. The days are short. It's depressing. So now you can decorate and you can have this holly jolly feeling and see family and have an excuse to be together. But a lot of the money that you have to spend on things and the making sure that everybody's happy and making sure everything's just right, I think can really cause this. I mean, it's why a song like this would come about and be popular, because so many people feel that anguish, like you said.
Girl, I want to be with you all of the time, all day and all of the night.
Hey, everybody, don't go anywhere. We got to take a quick break for a word from our sponsors, but we'll be right back.
Looking to elevate your music career? DistroKid is a digital music distribution service that enables musicians to distribute their music to online stores and streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Amazon, Tidal, and many more. DistroKid collects earnings and payments, sending them to you, the artist. With DistroKid, artists unlock a world of possibilities. From easily paying collaborators with splits to securing your music with DistroLock, DistroKid covers all bases. Plus, you can promote your releases with Hyperfollow and create eye-catching visuals with a Spotify Canvas generator, all for free. But that's not all. Introducing the DistroKid app, now available on iOS and Android. Artists can manage their releases, view streaming stats, and withdraw earnings, all from the palm of their hand. And for those looking to perfect their sound, check out Mixia. With its simple interface and customizable mastering options, artists can make their music sound polished and professional within minutes. And don't forget about Instant Share, DistroKid's newest feature. Share large files securely with collaborators, producers, and more, ensuring your music streams at the highest quality. Ready to take your music to the next level? Download the DistroKid app and explore their suite of tools today. Plus, listeners can enjoy 30% off their first year by visiting distrokid.com/VIP/DeMakes. That's distrokid.com/VIP/DeMakes.
Hey, do you find yourself stressing out over trying to get someone the perfect personal holiday gift, and then the weeks just fly by, and at the last minute, you just end up giving them a gift card? Well, this year, you should just skip the panic and give the ultimate gift, an Aura frame. I'm sure you've seen Aura frames by now, but in the event you haven't, they're beautiful digital frames that are very easy to use. You just download the Aura app and you can preload photos and a message before the person even gets it. I got one for my mom recently, and she was blown away when she set it up, and I had already loaded hundreds of photos onto it, and we're still both adding photos to her frame all the time. You can add an unlimited amount of photos and videos on the app straight from your phone all year long. It even comes in a super nice gift box. It's a can't-miss gift. You know, they say you can't wrap togetherness, but you can frame it. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames. Named number 1 by Wirecutter by using promo code DeMakes at checkout. That's AURAFrames.com, promo code DeMakes. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
When you walk into a Burlington, you're walking into amazing prices and great gifts. That's main character energy. Because at Burlington, the holiday savings aren't the only things turning heads. Discover quality finds and perfect presents for everyone on your list, even those who are hard to shop for. Toys and jewelry to new beauty brands and styles, these gifts go seamlessly from our stores to under your tree. Seriously, with these savings, why shop anywhere else?
Burlington deals, brands, wow.
John Legend, Sheryl Crow, Elvis Costello, and Alanis Morissette star in the MGM Plus original series, Words and Music. Iconic artists share intimate performances and the stories behind the songs. New episodes Sundays on MGM Plus.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Listening to this podcast? Smart move. Being financially savvy? Smart move. Another smart move? Having State Farm help you create a competitive price when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Wayfair's big sale is returning. Get ready for Way Day. For 4 days only, score up to 80% off all things home with free shipping on everything. From October 26th through 29th, score Wayfair's best deals, like up to 80% off area rugs, up to 60% off mattresses, up to 60% off bedroom furniture, and more exclusive doorbuster deals. So mark your calendar and shop Way Day starting October 26th at wayfair.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home. Close your eyes, exhale, feel your body relax, and let go of whatever you're carrying today.
Well, I'm letting go of the worry that I wouldn't get my new contacts in time for this class. I got them delivered free from 1-800-CONTACTS. Oh my gosh, they're so fast.
And breathe.
Oh, sorry. I almost couldn't breathe when I saw the discount they gave me on my first order. Oh, sorry. Namaste.
Visit 1-800-CONTACTS.com today to save on your first order.
1-800-CONTACTS.
Good morning, Crust. It's a great day to be a bread brother.
Ugh, mornings are not my jam. Or jelly.
Oh, come on. Stop loafing around.
I just woke up feeling hollow inside.
Psst, just grab one of the new Morning Uncrustables sandwiches, like Bright-Eyed Berry or Up an Apple, filled with 12 grams of protein and tons of deliciousness. Crust, what are you eating?
It's just granola, not even yogurt.
No crust, no fuss. Uncrust your mornings.
If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With the all-new Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from good to excellent. Introducing the new Sleep Score on Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right. And naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about anything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys. Tito's is known for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's. Distilled and bottled by 5th Generation Inc., Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly.
I believe that you and me last forever.
And now, back to the show.
Well, verse 3 comes right off the heels of the previous chorus. There's no post-chorus guitar solo or anything this time, Chris. Once again, this keeps the whole narrative, keeps the story moving. In this first half of this verse, the end of the lyrics are accentuated by tasty little guitar licks.
But give my daddy a job 'cause he needs one. He's got lots of mouths to feed. But if you've got one, I have a machine gun, so I can scare all the kids on the street.
The end of verse 3 is once again, it's sort of a high-octane build into the chorus, which we didn't have at the end of verse 2. This time it features a sort of high, choppy guitar part, which I think was maybe intended to mimic a sort of machine gun feel of the lyric. And you put something here, a thought I had, you wrote. It's kind of impressive that so many artists cover this song because it's not a very straightforward song to cover. There are so many little nuances to remember. I really respect the care and time that they put into making this song unique, which goes back to our conversation at the top. You're like, I wonder if all these other artists put the bells and whistles, and I'm going to have to go listen and see how in depth some of them went.
I mean, you could probably pretty easily do a simpler, more straightforward version of this song where you're just kind of singing it and not doing all, like, we just talked about all those little tasty guitar licks at the end of each line. Like, are these bands that are covering this doing all these things? It's just a lot.
Right. And, there's times when a punk cover works where it's just, one guitar, one bass, one drummer, one vocalist, no backup vocals. You can cover some song and it's great. And then we've heard that same approach taken with songs like Father Christmas. You're like, this falls short, man. You need all the bells and whistles. It's not the same song. But verse 3, here's the lyric. But give my daddy a job because he needs one. He's got lots of mouths to feed. But if you got one, I'll have a machine gun so I can scare all the kids on the street. And that's an interesting lyric because, barring military, you don't have machine guns in England. So I thought that was an interesting lyric. Is not really sure.
I don't understand it, kind of. My first thought was like, this ages very poorly in today's world. Not that that's the Kinks world, but it's hard to imagine a world where gun violence would be as prevalent as it is now in the 70s or whatever. But I kind of don't even get it. But give my daddy a job because he needs one. He's got lots of mouths to feed. But if you've got one, I'll have a machine. Oh, so the kid is talking to the department store Santa and saying,
yeah,
the present I want is a machine gun so I can scare all the kids on the street, which,
yeah,
I get it. It's fun. It's funny. And they're not thinking about now you probably wouldn't write this lyric nowadays.
Right. Well, and I think there's an innocence about this line that it wasn't meant to be political. It wasn't meant to be about gun violence, but it's interesting that'd be where our minds would go today.
Well, also, I'm sure you did. I don't know if I did, but definitely cousins of mine and stuff had toy guns that look like real guns. I don't think they make those anymore.
Well, no. Well, I mean, and then there was a safety issue where, remember, all little toys, they still do it where they have to put fluorescent orange on the gun. It's somewhere to, denote that this is not an actual real live firearm. Super loud 16th note tambourine comes in here until the end of verse 3, and then chorus 3.
Father Christmas, give us some money. We got no time for your silly toys. We'll beat you up if you don't hand it over. We want your bread, so don't make us annoyed. Give all the toys to the little rich boy.
Father Christmas, give us some money. We got no time for your silly toys. We'll beat you up if you don't hand it over. Give all the toys to the little rich boys. Once again, the lyrics change. No two choruses in Father Christmas have been the same lyrically. Ray Davies' vocal delivery goes up a notch here. He's going for it. And this is where I get that Dead Milkman vibe, kind of where the voice almost seems like this is out of Ray's range. It's right there on the cusp, which we've talked about that before on the show, sometimes reaching for that. And right where your voice is breaking up. If you were to record the song in a key or two lower, it wouldn't have the same intensity. intensity. And you wrote a note here. Pay attention to the bass around 201. It goes up and has a momentary feature. The bass is probably a little underrated in this song, but it's really holding its own. So many great hooks, and I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, the bass is incredible in this song, and there's just so much going on that you almost don't notice it or something. Like it's kind of forgotten, but it is a really, really good bass in this song. Everybody is just crushing it in this song. Every member of the band is absolutely crushing it on this song.
Out of chorus 3, comes into another post-chorus, Chris. Once again, the guitars are just wailing here. And this time, this post-chorus is longer and both guitars get in on the action. There are parts of the guitar wailing that almost sound like intentional flubs, or the very least, very muted. Kind of adds to the live energy of the song. Doesn't sound overproduced, but rather like a real band rocking in the room. And we've talked about that. Like, yeah, you'd go in now and maybe chop out some of that noise, or, that sounds like it's a flub, or that sounds a little muted. And to your point, it sounds like a real band here.
A question I would ask would be if this song was written today. It doesn't have to be the Kinks. It could be any band. It's the same song. And you go into the studio and everything, you still have all these same parts, but everything is like flawlessly not only executed, but also flawlessly produced, and real like slick production of this song. Would it have the same charm, and would people like it as much? There's something about this song that feels live and adds to the fun.
It feels live. It feels off the cuff. It doesn't feel copy and pasted. And a lot of it has to do with nothing's really repeating. So great energy here.
Little rich boy.
Have yourself a good time. But remember the kids who got nothing while you're drinking down your wine.
Bridge. You had written, is this just an interlude? I'm going to go bridge here. I think this is a bridge. The guitars ring out over the vocals only here. After the line, have yourself a good time, there's some pad vocal oohs that are in the background. On the word wine, a huge bass slide leads into a gigantic build. Once again, impressive that people cover this song. You wrote, do they do simpler versions of it? I probably heard some of those covers you mentioned. I'm sure I heard the Warrant one back in the day. I doubt Warrant broke out the xylophones. They might have done the hand claps, Chris. But here's the bridge lyric. Have yourself a merry, merry Christmas. Have yourself a good time. But remember the kids who got nothing while you're drinking down your wine.
Yeah.
Is that the old wino Santa Claus?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, maybe it's the back alley Santa. We couldn't afford to drive the kids all the way to London. We got to go over here and to the department store to see the drunk Santa.
It's funny that while we're doing this, now I obviously took a bunch of notes on this song and listened to it so many times to prepare for this, but I didn't really think about the fact that all of the lyrics in the song are from the perspective, basically, of a kid saying it to the department store Santa.
Yep.
I didn't really think about that for some reason.
Yeah, and department store Santas are depicted as a very jolly and bright-eyed, sober person, but it could also be the dude with the yellow mustache. I took my son almost to a Santa in Lakeland Mall one time that the woman at the pretzel place warned me. Okay, we walk up, we're like, here, there's a Santa here, and her eyes got like saucers. She's like, huh? She's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, that was weird. So we keep walking along, and then see somebody else. We're like, well, yeah, the Santa's down here. And we got another look. And dude, we turned the corner, Chris. This guy was maybe 6'1", 98 pounds. Okay, he looked like this shriveled old man. Just looked like he had seen better days. Yellowed mustache, like he'd been smoking all day. We did not take our son there, but yeah, that part reminded me of the could be the wino Santa Claus. Great build up once again after this bridge. It's 4 bars, and right around the 2 minutes and 48-second mark, you hear the piano really stick out in the mix here. Chorus 4 cuts back to just the sleigh bells and xylophone, like at the top of the song.
Father Christmas, give us some money. We got no time for your silly toys. Father Christmas, please hand it over. We'll beat you up, so don't make us annoyed. Father Christmas, give us some money. Don't mess around with those silly toys. Beat you up, don't hand it over. We want your bread, so don't make us annoyed. Give all the toys to the little rich boy.
Father Christmas, give us some money. We got no time for your silly toys. Father Christmas, please hand it over. We'll beat you up, so don't make us annoyed. And on Annoyed, we get like this daka daka and this snare drum fill, and the rockin' music kicks back in for a final time through the double chorus. And they're trying to put everything in here, Chris.
Yep.
They gave us some cowbell, man. We got some cowbell coming here on chorus 4.
That's right. What better way, if you're throwing in the kitchen sink, the cowbell just sends it over. Oh my God. Wait a second, Chris. Did you say that this song reminds you of Don't Fear the Reaper earlier?
Yes. And now we got the cowbell in here, so maybe there is a little bit more to this theory I have.
I think you might be right on. Although I do wonder, Don't Fear the Reaper is, especially thanks to Saturday Night Live, but it's probably the number one song if you said to somebody like, what's a song with cowbell in it? That's the song they're going to say.
Oh, yeah.
But was cowbell being used in a lot of songs at this time? Or
in the 70s? Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You go listen to Nazareth. They had that song, it's called Hair of the Dog. The lyric was, now you're messing with a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That tune. There's cowbell in that. A lot of 70s rock bands. And then Motley Crue came along. They have a famous song called Live Wire where Tommy hits the cowbell really loud and by itself in one part of the song. So definitely that time period.
To the little rich boy.
And then we get an outro. It's a fade out of the rockin' post chorus. That fast snare fill is going full bore here, as well as the 16th note tambourine. And this kind of reminds me, the end of this is the vibe I get of the song is, it's kind of like this Christmas season's coming to an end. Like whether they're leaving the department store or like, the book's been closed, the chapter's been closed till next season. And I don't know. If you really look under the hood of this one, the lyric, albeit is depressing or whatever, but I'm still uplifted by this tune.
Yeah. How do you feel about the big fade out here at the end? I think it opens the door for, if you play this song live, you can really extend it and everyone's rocking out and it's kitchen sink as hell.
And the fade out doesn't just signify that it's over, which I said a moment ago. The fade out's kind of like it's going, infinity. It's just kind of going, and so I kind of get the sentiment of both those feelings. And to your point, yeah, going live, you could rock that hook forever, right?
Yeah, in general, how do you feel about fade outs? Have you ever? Less than Jake's never done a fade out in a song, right?
Oh yeah, we have. We've
oh, you have?
Outs. Oh yeah,
really?
Yeah, there's definitely fade outs. Is this thing on from Borders and Boundaries has a fade out?
Okay.
There's tunes that have fade outs, and how do I feel about them? It's song by song. You know, there's no blanket rule of you can't use a fade out. Maybe people. There's some people that might accuse bands that are punk rock bands. That's not punk to do a fade out. That's 70s bloated dinosaur rock. But hey, to each their own. We talked about how many albums they had out. I think it was like 15 in 77, Chris, when Father Christmas was released, the Kinks. After the song, the band released 8 more albums from 1978 to 1993, 24 total albums and 5 live albums. Talk about being prolific. They're considered one of the most influential rock acts of the 60s and early 70s. I'm going to say again that talk about different styles and pulling them off, all of their big singles, barring You Really Got Me and All Through the Night, which those are kind of cut from the same cloth and same time period, but all their singles are uniquely different. Ranked 65th on Rolling Stone's 100 Greatest Artists of All Times list, the Kinks. They've influenced everyone from the Ramones, the Clash, Blondie, the Jam, Van Halen, Oasis, and Blur. And this is where I put my Dead Milkman note. Dead Milkman on this song, which just really reminds me of them. Brian May from Queen credited the band with planting the seed, which grew into riff-based music. And that's interesting because if you think about Brian, he didn't come along till, early 70s with Queen. Of course, he was cutting his teeth and doing it in the 60s. But, he obviously took a page out of Ray Davies and Dave Davies' book here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, thinking about the riff as the basis for the song, I guess I would have to look at the history of music or whatever, but I think maybe a lot of times it was the melody and the lyric were the main thing, but then instead having the riff be the thing that you build the rest of the song around, instead of building the whole song around the melody or the lyric or the song in general like that. You're starting with a riff and then you're building the song around that riff. I think that's such a staple in rock music now. I know my band has done it. I'm sure your band has done it.
Yeah.
And I just never thought about the fact that maybe there was a time, and the Kinks were maybe on the forefront of it, that people didn't write songs that way.
Yeah, that's an interesting point as well. The Kinks, they were inducted, Chris, into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1990, their first year of eligibility. And let's talk about their big hits one more time. You Really Got Me was covered, of course, by Van Halen. Lola, I'm going the most popular cover of Lola is Yoda. You mentioned that. Tired of Waiting for You, Green Day covered that song.
Okay.
It is on their, I think their international super hits maybe record. They had tacked it onto that. It was a B-side to one of their singles in the 90s. Lola hit number 9 in 1970, and then Come Dancing all the way. Hit number 6 13 years later in 1983. Less Than Jake covered Come Dancing recently. Quiet Riot covered All Day and All of the Night. Not a good version. Last little tidbit here. Ray Davies is often referred to as the godfather of Britpop. I never heard that before. I don't know. I guess that argument could be made about a number of people. I don't really get the Britpop tag there from what I understand Britpop to be, but hey.
Yeah, I would think of the Beatles as being kind of the godfathers of that. But
yeah,
from what I read about the Kinks and with how prolific they were, it's kind of like the Kinks could have walked kind of lockstep with the Beatles in certain ways. And maybe it's a little bit of that, what you talked about. Britpop, not only does it have a certain sound, it also has a certain attitude, like real feisty, kind of controversial.
Oasis.
Yeah. So yes, Oasis. That totally makes sense. But all these bands, Blur, a lot of these bands, that was like part of the whole thing was they were also kind of assholes. So
yeah.
I could see that maybe if it's not just the music, but also the attitude, maybe the Kinks, maybe that's why someone would refer to the Kinks as the godfathers of Britpop.
Well, thanks everybody for listening. I had a lot of fun combing through this one, Chris. This is one of 4 in December. We're going to hit you next week with another Christmas-themed song that Chris and I are going to comb through. And if you haven't already, stop by ChrisDeMakes.com. That's where our Patreon lives, and you can go help us out. Go support us, right, Chris? It's the holiday. Be festive.
Yes. Right now is the perfect time to do it because, Chris, we're just going to spill right over and keep the Father Christmas theme going with this week's after party episode, which you can get. You can get this week's episode along with hundreds of past episodes we've done of the after party, but we're going to keep the conversation going over there at chrisdemakes.com this week. So check it out.
That's right. And thanks to each and every one of you for listening. As always, we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next week.
Outside a department store, a gang of kids came over and mugged me and knocked my reindeer to the floor. They said, Father Christmas, give us some money. Don't mess around with your silly toys. Beat you up if you don't hand it over. We want your ransom and make us annoyed. Give all the toys to the little rich boys.
Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
This holiday, discover meaningful gifts for everyone on your list at Kay. Not sure where to start? Our jewelry experts are here to help you find or create the perfect gift, in-store or online. Book your appointment today and unwrap love this season, only at Kay.